Well, I don't know if you can tell, but this is not good riding weather. Wind's blowing. I'm listening on the scanner. I can hear trees coming down and everything else. So, yeah, not a good day for riding. It's a good day for tinkering, though. So that's what we're gonna do. Got another project lined up on my V-strom here. Now, a few weeks ago, I installed this Delkevic exhaust as a full exhaust system. Goes all the way from the factory head pipes all the way down through the muffler. And I've been wanting to install a skid plate on this motorcycle. I don't know what's gonna fit here. And my real concern is, look at this, I don't know what you call this, an equalizer pipe. You know, it goes from the front of this head pipe on the front cylinder to the header on the back cylinder. And the problem is it crosses over underneath the main pipe here, and it reduces my ground clearance by like an inch or more. So if I put a skid plate under here, it's going to be way down low. Just not good for the kind of riding that I intend to do. You know, all a guy has to do is make a few strategic cuts here, lift this thing up, patch the hole on the backside, and you can gain over an extra inch of ground clearance. So that's what I'm going to do today. It's a stainless steel pipe, so I'm going to fire up the TIG welder, and I'm just going to use pieces of that pipe as I cut it apart. I'll make a couple of pie cuts and things like that. We'll TIG weld it all back together, and yeah. Again, I hate to call into question Delkevic's. I'm sure they have a reason for that. Maybe I'm going to change the performance a little bit or the sound. I don't know. But I can tell you for sure that if I leave it the way that it is, I'm definitely going to change the performance and sound by bashing that piece of pipe with a rock. So, yeah, maybe I'll lose 1% of my power or something like that. But I'd say that's a small sacrifice to make for gaining an inch plus of ground clearance. So let's bust out the tools and get to work. Well, basically what I'm going to be doing is hacking this off right here, welding a patch over that spot, making some pie cuts here, and rotating this thing up to tie into the pipe up here. Really not a terribly complicated job, and again, I still just don't know why they felt the need to wrap this thing underneath this main pipe. Yeah, get this thing off here. Pretty crudely blown hole with a torch right in the side here, so I'm gonna sand this up, clean it up, weld a patch over it, and then, you know, really I can get most of the length back right here. I can tie in something just about like this. Okay, I'm getting a little bit closer here. I've got all the pieces cut. I need to drill a hole right here, but I've got this coped nicely. All my joints made up without too big of a gap. I'm just going to tack this thing into place and then just go test fit it on the motorcycle to make sure there isn't something I've overlooked. Alright, just a quick test fit on the bike here. This thing actually looks really good. I'm, you know, half an inch away from this exhaust isolator, but the thing is, so is the main pipe, so I really think that that's going to be just fine. And wow, there's a lot of extra space underneath there. The crossover tube is only this much shorter. These are the pieces that I cut out that I'm not using. So, what is that? About 1 3/4 inches, maybe 2 inches. So, yeah. I don't know. I think it's going to work pretty good. Let's get to welding. Well, it isn't quite perfection, but it is pretty good. I'm fairly happy with that. The welds are certainly leak-free, and they're as good or better than the factory stuff on the exhaust here. So let's go ahead and bolt this thing back into place. As you can see, I have gained a significant amount of ground clearance by doing that. Back here, the suspension link is the lowest point. The main pipe is still the lowest point up here, but there's no getting around that, so my skid plate will be protecting that. But basically, my skid plate can run, you know, right along the main pipe, right up to back here, without interfering with anything anymore. And it's going to be able to run at least an inch higher than it was if I'd have left the exhaust alone. So let's fire this thing up, make sure it doesn't sound any different. Fairly sure it won't, but... Okay, that wraps this one up. I'm actually pretty pleased. You know, I spent a couple of hours on this whole thing, gained myself an inch of ground clearance. At least for my intended use, this is significantly better. So next up, I'm going to be building an aluminum skid plate for this thing. That'll be in a future video, so stay tuned if you like that kind of thing. Again, thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you on the next one.